Hi, this next challenge is entitled Flip the Integer Boolean. The description reads, an int Boolean is the same as a normal Boolean, just 1 equals true and 0 equals false. Make a function that returns an int Boolean opposite of an int Boolean given. So they want you to flip the input. Remember, a Boolean variable has only 2 states. You can think of it most commonly as true, false, or on, off. They mention 1 and 0 here in this example. And essentially what our function is going to do is to be a sort of toggle between the 2 states. You can think of it as negation as well. You know, if you get a 1, you're going to give 0 the other state. And if you get a 0, you're going to give a 1. So I think that's straightforward enough. We'll head over to code. Please pause and implement this yourself first and resume the video when you're ready. So we will start, I'll show you a few ways. I'll start with the straightforward way and then sort of condense it. You can use a conditional statement, right? You can say if the input IB, terrible, but we'll use it. If IB is greater than 0, that means essentially you got the 1, right? Do note though that this is coming in as an integer, and while the instructions say it's going to be a 0 and 1, in theory an integer supports a lot more values than just that. So really you would want to sort of either check the input that it is in fact a 0 or 1. You could have a clause that does that if IB is less than 0 or IB is greater than 1, hey, we've got a problem. We'll just say return -1. You could use that as this -1 is an error code. You could instead throw an exception here. We'll talk about exceptions later, but they're essentially sort of halt execution and say we have a problem here, and it allows the program at various points to sort of address that problem. That's out of the scope of this discussion, but just know that there are multiple ways of dealing with improper input, sort of the program going off the rails. So I like to be on the paranoid side and don't assume that the input's always going to be perfect. Even people with good intentions make mistakes, calculations come out wrong, that happens, so should deal with it. If their tests don't ever violate this, then we'll never, or I should say if they meet this condition, we'll never get to this point and nothing should break. So I'll leave that there. And then it's simply a matter of if IB is greater than 0, which means it's a 1 at this point. You could also check, if IB equals 1, however you want to do it. If you didn't have this protection here, maybe you just say interpret anything that's not a 0 as, a true. So, I'll be right with you, bud. I'll be right there. So you've got, I'll go with this for now, IB is greater than 0. We can say, since it's a 1 at this point, return 0. And then at this point, we've already exited, so I don't need any sort of else if. I can simply say return 1 in this case. That's because IB was a 0 at this point, which is not greater than 0, so we skipped over this return statement, and we're returning the 1 that we were told to in the instructions. So I can check this, provided their input is good, we shouldn't have any trouble. And there you go, we have it. Now, I did say that we could condense this, we could simplify it, but again, that's in terms of maybe not doing all the protection we should. But this is for educational purposes, so you should know that there is a type of expression called a ternary expression where you can give, it's like an if statement, where you write the condition first and use this question mark to denote that, then simply add what you want to return. So this is the condition, if I is greater than 0, we'll assume that means IB is a 1, and it's saying return 0, colon, else return 1. You can do it this way too. Again, you could add your input validation if you wanted to do that. before this. But yeah, there's a simple way to deal with Booleans, an introduction to conditional statements, the if statement, and also this ternary style expression. Feel free to hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.